Hello, everyone. Welcome to our 50th episode of In the Trenches, Kroll's weekly cyber threat intelligence briefing. My name is Keith Wojcicki, Global Head of Threat Intelligence. This week, we are joined by Dave Truman, Mukesh Nagar, Ryan Hicks, and of course, our in-house expert, Sarah Becker, all from our threat intelligence team. Today is May 13th, 2024, and we'll be covering the most recent trends that our threat intel team is witnessing in the trenches. So let's talk news you can use for May 13th, 2024. So CISA adds a new CVE or CVE 2023-7028, which actually is an old one, to a known exploited vulnerability. Now this here, the Kroll CTI team previously reported on this the CVE in January 2024. It affected GitLab, where at the time a proof of concept was published. The vulnerability allows a threat actor to reset user passwords by redirecting the password reset email into an inbox they control, allowing full account takeover. So this week, CISA added the vulnerability to its KEV database, which should further expedite patching of GitHub instances versions 16.7.3, 16.6.5, and 16.5.7 or newer. So go ahead and take a look at that. So Chrome, another vulnerability, was released and patched. So Google has released a security update for the Chrome browser to patch against the new 0-day. It's CVE 2024-4671. There's really not many details that are known about the vulnerability, but Google states that it is an in quotes, user after free vulnerability, and that they're aware of it being exploited in the wild, which is most important. It is recommended to make sure Chrome browsers are patched to mitigate potential exploitation. Now, for those of you that attended the amazing conference RSA 2024 in San Francisco, we did see AI everywhere. What does this mean for us, right? What are we talking about? What's going on with AI? Everyone's curious. An interesting thing that came out, the FBI had made confirmation that cyber criminals are using AI to conduct sophisticated phishing, social engineering attacks, and voice video cloning scams. Now, the FBI continued to state that AI provides augmented and enhanced capabilities to schemes that attackers already use and increase cyber attack speed, scale automation, all that stuff. But the most important thing, we've seen this, right? We understand that AI is being used. But with this, with the FBI sending out this alert to businesses and individuals around the risks of using AI and with the criminal intent, it's really big because the use of AI on both sides of the line has been happening for some time. But with the FBI coming out at a global conference, making this a public statement confirms, and it's not just here and there. This means that this is being used by transnational organized criminals to make attacks more sophisticated, efficient, and definitely more difficult to detect. So this is a big thing that the FBI just released. So if you have any questions or concerns, please contact Kroll at cti@kroll.com. That's cti@kroll.com. So now let's get into today's briefing. Today we're going to be covering the following trends our team is concentrating on. F5 with a big vulnerability. We're going to do some spyware talk with Mukesh, malware spotlight with Dave, and of course the ransomware roundup with Sarah. So with that, Ryan, you know we have another vulnerability we're reporting today. This one is with F5's Next Central Manager, which can give threat actors full admin control of a device. Can you provide us with an update on this?
Yeah, thanks, Keith. So two vulnerabilities have been reported affecting the BIP Next Central Manager, and both CVs hold a CVSS score of 7.5, which is high. There have yet to be reports of the vulnerabilities being exploited in the wild. However, a technical write-up and a proof of concept have been published by the research team that disclosed the vulnerabilities. And in total, interestingly, the research team also stated in their write-up that they disclosed 5 vulnerabilities in total to F5. However, only 2 so far, which are these 2, have been assigned CV. So we get to see the kind of other 3. The assigned CV, so these 2 can be remotely exploited by any attacker able to access the administrative UI. So an attacker being able to access the UI could be the central manager is either internet connected or this is part of post-compromise activities where an actor is already inside the network, has access to the UI and kind of exploits for perhaps sort of privilege escalation and persistence. Either scenario, exploitation could result in the full administrative control of the manager itself. And then attackers could then take advantage of the other CVEs that the research team mentioned to create new accounts on any big IP assets that's managed by that central manager. So details of the two kind of CVs are as follows. So on the left-hand side, you see the affected versions. So 20.0.01, sorry, .1 to 20.1.0, the affected versions. And one of the vulnerabilities is data injection vulnerability, and the other is an SQL injection in the API itself for the central manager. F5 in their kind of advisory did note that they only evaluate software versions that have not yet reached their end of life support. So they provided in their advisories a full list of the software that they've assessed for potential exploitation. So links to those can be found in the weekly report itself. And recommendations. So if you're running kind of a known vulnerable version, it's of course recommended to patch to the fixed version, which is 20.2.0 or later. And if patching is able to take place, F5 does also recommend to mitigate the vulnerability, administrators should restrict management access to these products to only trusted users and devices over a secure network, which is probably good advice in general anyway. So part of that would be ensuring it's not open to the internet, that potentially actors could connect to the UI from anywhere. And that's all from me. I'll hand back to Keith.
Thanks, Ryan, for all the updates. Appreciate that. Makesh, you have an interesting update about spyware and how it's attacking iOS devices. Can you give us some update on that?
I do, and of course. So a new strain of malware has been identified and dubbed as CUCKOO by security researchers at a device management company called Kanji. Now, the malware targets both newer and older Macs. However, what sets this malware apart is that it behaves as a cross between an info-stealer malware as well as a spyware. Now, in the blog post, the security researchers explained that they came across a undetected malicious Mac0 binary on VirusTotal with the name Dump Media Spotify Music Converter. Whilst investigating this program online and doing some OSINT work, they discovered it was hosted on a site called dumpmedia.com, which offered multiple applications to help users pirate music from streaming services by converting them into MP3 files. Although the current campaign for this malware is currently being spread on music piracy sites, this campaign could be easily changed to distribute it through other fake apps, stores, as well as other fake sites. Now, after downloading the Dump Media Spotify Music Converter application, the research discovered that it contained an application bundle. Now, this is different as normal macOS applications only required to be dragged into the application folder to be installed. However, with Dump Media Spotify Music Converter, it encourages users to right-click on the app in order to open it. Now, the app found in the bundle was signed without a developer ID. However, is signed with an ad hoc certificate. This means that Apple Gatekeeper will try to stop it from running. However, if a user allows it to run on their computer manually, Gatekeeper will allow the application to run and install. Thus, the malware will then run its course. Upon execution, the malware does a system language check as an initial part, and this is to ensure that the Mac device that is being targeted isn't located in Armenia, Belarus, Kazakhstan, Russia, or Ukraine before it begins stealing sensitive data. If it is located in these locations, then a legitimate Spotify Music Converter application is installed and launched. This is very similar to the Mac Stealer malware, where CUCKOO also uses scripts to display a fake password prompt in order to trick users into entering their system password. This would also allow the actors to obtain the victim's password and carry out privilege escalations on the infected device. CUCKOO then also takes the notes of the applications that are currently installed on the application, as well as taking screenshots, harvesting data from iCloud, the Keychain app, Apple Notes, as well as web browsers and crypto wallets. It also uses a technique that we've also seen by Mac stealer malware use called launch agent. And this is in order to establish persistence on the infected Mac device. And this way, even if the device is restarted, the malware will still run. Following all these checks and activities done, the malware also ensures it remains undetected by installing a legitimate copy of the application to the directory and launching it. In order to protect yourselves from this malware, users should download applications from the macOS App Store or directly from verified and legitimate websites. Administrators should also educate users on the dangers of malware, the importance of downloading applications from legitimate sources, and how to identify security prompts. As well as this, deploying EDRs or NGAVs to all endpoints within the environment can help detect and prevent compromise at an earlier stage as possible. That's all from me, Keith. Back to you.
Thank you, Ryan. Sorry, Mikesh. Thank you, Mikesh, for the overview. Really do appreciate that. Now we're going to turn over to Dave, and Dave's going to get into our Malware Chronicles. Dave, over to you.
Thank you. REMCOS Remote Access Trojan is marketed as a legitimate remote access tool that can be used for penetration testing and is sold by an Italian-based organization named Breaking Security. It is available in both free and purchased editions. The free version lacks the features that make it attractive to threat actors, such as the ability to run stealthily. Due to its GUI controller, even unskilled, unknowledgeable actors have access to a powerful toolset and easy control of a victim machine. Its feature set is large and allows for control of most aspects of a remote machine, including file system, registry, processes, services, running commands, and downloading further software, along with a full remote desktop experience and proxy capabilities. Due to it being commercially available, the initial access methods will vary depending upon the threat actor using it. Phishing is commonly seen, often via attached malicious Office documents. It has also been deployed via loader software, such as GUI Loader, Private Loader, White Shadow, and DB Bat Loader. One common method of execution involves process hollowing via the regasm.exe, and often multiple scripting languages such as PowerShell and VBScript are seen in the initial access chain. A recent 2004 campaign also saw a binary component being hidden as a base64 blob at the end of a legitimate JPEG file. REMCOS uses registry run keys for persistence. Due to its wide feature set, ease of use, and being commercially available, we expect to see REMCOS remaining popular. Thank you, Keith.
Thanks, Dave, for the detailed review. Really appreciate that. Now, let's talk to Sarah, the ransomware expert. So, Sarah, round 3, right? Lockbird versus law enforcement. But now they put a face to the group, which is an interesting turn of events. Is it law enforcement sees this slipping away, so they had to put an alert out there, or is it amazing strategic decision? So, Sarah, over to you to inform us kind of the facts and what you and the Cool team has identified.
Yeah, of course, Keith. So as Keith already stated, law enforcement did seize Lockbit's old domain again. So Lockbit is still operational, but that is with their new Onion domain. And this kind of all occurred last week over the past couple of days that with the seizure of the old domain, law enforcement was stating that they were going to reveal a little bit more information behind the group and Operation Chronos, and they were going to release the data as the timers indicate, as Lockbit's data leak site is kind of structured as. So May 7th was kind of the release of what law enforcement was going to disclose, and then May 10th was going to be the site closure again. So what they previously did with the seized site, they kind of are doing the same thing again. One of the big cybersecurity researchers, though, VX Underground, They did post on their social media account that they did speak with Lockbit before the release of this information, just saying that they don't understand why law enforcement is quote unquote putting on a show, and that law enforcement is clearly upset that the ransomware group is still operating. So Lockbit was claiming that they will continue to work and they're going to continue to list new victims regardless of whatever law enforcement was going to release. So Lockbit has kept to their word on that with the new Onion domain that they have been using for their data leak site. They have posted approximately over 100 victims on the current site, and researchers and others are kind of looking into the amount of these postings just to see these are repeats, they're possibly old data or from other affiliates. So people are just saying that they think this drastic response and large amount of victim postings is just kind of sticking it to law enforcement, saying we're stronger than ever, just amidst all of this announcement and information that's being released. So May 7th rolls around and law enforcement did release details, including what they learned from the takedown, a list of other affiliates that were involved. Most of these affiliates' names were very common or general names and not specific identities. And then they also released what actions they're continuing to take afterwards, any other infographics as well, just everything that they learned from this Operation Kronos. But the big takeaway from this information release was law enforcement said that they did identify one of the most prolific threat actors behind Lockbit Sup, and they said it was a Russian national named Dmitry Korshev. So Korshev has been sanctioned by the US, the UK, and Australia following this ransomware group's disruption. And the US actually unsealed the indictment against Korshev, offering $10 million for a reward for information leading to an arrest or conviction. So this includes penalties against Korshev that will be asset freezes and things like travel bans. The NCA Director General stated, "These sanctions are hugely significant and show that there is no hiding place for cyber criminals like Dmitry Korshev, who wreak havoc across the globe. He was certain he could remain anonymous, but he was wrong." Now, after the release of all of this information and the apparent identity of Lockbit Sup, now Lockbit is kind of stating that law enforcement has it wrong. It's a lot of hearsay, a lot of rumors going on. So, of course, Kroll's monitoring just to see any new information popping up. But Lockbit is stating that law enforcement has the wrong person. So, again, we'll see what's going on. But this is the ongoing saga of Lockbit, and they're back and forth with law enforcement. So that is it for me, Keith.
Thank you very much, Sarah. Appreciate the amazing work and the cutting edge intel. So with that, today is National Frog Jumping Day. So the origin of National Frog Jumping Day is from Mark Twain's story about a pet frog named Daniel Webster and a competition between two men betting on whose frog can jump the highest. So the current frog jumping record was set in '86 by Rosie the Riveter, no lie, Rosie the Riveter, who jumped 21 feet, 5 3/4 inches. Unbelievable. Anyway, I would like to thank everybody that has taken the time to tune into today's weekly cyber threat intelligence briefing. We do hope you found this session informative. If you have any follow-up questions about this briefing or any other questions, please contact the CTI team at cti@kroll.com. That's cti@kroll.com. Have a wonderful day.